Hey everybody, it's your boy Britannius JWA with Gardening with JWA, and I am back. It is a beautiful overcast day. We got a little bit of sprinkling happening, and because of that, because it's raining, I actually have to be careful with what I'm doing yard work wise. I mean, Arizona, it's not really much of a problem, but any of the trees that I'm keeping, I don't really want to be careful trimming up, because you can invite potential like disease and fungal issues if you cut and then it's wet. I mean, we're not going to have that problem because it's like I said, it's Arizona. You know, we got a little bit, but it's going to get hot again, so it's not as much of an issue, but I like to avoid it. You know, better safe than sorry. But effectively, here's my little beautiful citruses, which I'll talk about in a tiny second. So let's kind of take a look back. If I like zoom out, so right there, look at that, the sky looks so white. So there's figgies, there's moringa, there's more citrus. But if we go this way, this right here, Flavor Delight Apium. This guy right here, which I need to stake up better, is Gold Kissed Apricot, because Kim really likes apricots. It's starting to sprinkle again. Now this Indian green jujube right here, this guy's going bye-bye. It's just not working. Look, even the fruit got eaten out by the birds. See that? Something pecked it and ate it. So I won't even get to try a fruit from this. I tried one before, but it's good if you can let it ripen, but it was so small because of what it ripened. So this guy's getting chopped down. And as you can see, obviously I have my citrus hedge of all these little dwarf guys, although they're doing pretty good. A lot of citrus on them, a lot of citrus over here. It's harder to see from like the top down, but there's a ton in there. If you kind of go more bottom, you can see the stuff hanging, as you can see there. But yeah, good amount of citrus, which is super awesome, and with this weather they'll grow. So very, very happy all around. A lot of citrus. I love the shape of this guy. This guy's doing really good shape wise, has a bunch of citrus. I'm able to maintain this beautiful shape, and then after I harvest, I kind of trim these guys up and then let it just kind of grow up, kind of fall down, harvest, cut, and then, you know, rinse and repeat. I was starting to really pick up. Birds must have loved the shape too, because they built a nest, and last year some birds hatched out of it. It was really cute. But yeah, so I was able to cut back here more. Ignore that. That's rotten out. I waited too long to plant this in the ground, and it got overburdened in that pot. But yeah, so we got this guy right here, which is, I believe, the Sanguinelli, which is the Italian blood orange. And then this is the Moro blood orange, which is a huge offshoot. No, oh crap, it's actually starting to get really wet. Sorry guys, it's starting. You guys can't see. I don't even think you guys can hear it. But I got a little part I got to cut back there, but I worked my way there pretty nicely. So I did a good job, guys. I'm finally taking back. Let me adjust. I'm finally taking back the yard from all of the shenanigans. There's Dean, little Dean Pup Chester. Yeah, I'm finally taking back the yard from all the shenanigans, all the grass. As you can see, this part didn't really have grass growing because there was so much in here. All I did, I cut back this guy a little bit. I cut back the Shangri-La mulberry just to kind of cut back because it was growing over this guy. This guy is sprouting back up again, which is nice. I cut back the figs a little bit so they wouldn't get in the way. It's all this debris you see. And then I got rid of the Florida King, and that stump is the Mexican sunflower. And that stump right there is also a Mexican sunflower. Now, I think I might have put too much water on this guy or too much feed. Now these guys do ripen up early, but it is dropping some fruit, so I might have done too much for this guy. This guy definitely seems, the Kishu definitely seems more sensitive to fruit drop. But it is what it is. I think everything else is growing really good. Look at all these guys. Let me see, which route do I want to go? I'll go this way. Watch out, Kylo. I'm stepping on all the branches. I'll try to hurry up a little bit. This guy's just looking absolutely beautiful. Gotta flop that leaf over. This guy is going bye-bye. He's trying to come back, but I am gonna chop this up. This guy's sprouting back real nice. A bush just like I want it. Same for this guy. I mean, all these guys are doing really good. I had to chop back that more. The Miwa, because that's the Miwa, that's the Fukushu, and then this is the Lime Quad. And then you'll see here, ooh-wee, I cut back the vetiver, and then what else did I do? I cut back the vetiver grass. I think that was really what was making this place so crazy, is I cut back the vetiver grass that's growing all around. So now you can kind of see, I got the olive there I'm gonna chop. This is an apple I'm gonna keep. That is a Fuyu persimmon. I'm gonna keep chopping that down more. It's just really hard to cut down. But this right here is my gold nugget. This right here is just a guava. I might take this guava out and put it by the other guava. We'll see. I don't know why this guy is flowering again. This is like a weird season of flower. I mean, I'm not gonna let it fruit anyway, but hey, watch out, Kyle. I need to step through. But yeah, this is gold nugget. This is my Midnight Valencia. Ugh. Mango, which at this point I'm not even protecting this mango anymore outside of when I've sprayed some Callan clay in the early summer. That is a weird offshoot of a seedling, or I'm sorry, of a graft, because they grow seedlings, they graft onto them. So I don't know what type of sapote that is. I'm not really going to protect it. It's kind of crowded out. This guy right here, this crazy beast, this is the dwarf everbearing. This guy needs a severe cutback. It is like super huge cutback on this guy. I was supposed to do that and manage it better, but I let the grass kind of grow out of control. So I kind of gotta get back in control of that. In the summer I planted that almond. It's doing, honestly, I neglected it and it's doing amazing. So all in all, removing this guy I'm not going to cold protect. If he dies, he dies. This is crazy. I have a freaking Subel sapote just right there. I'm like, no wonder this guy isn't growing that great. There's a giant fruit that I didn't see on it. He was like covered with all this other stuff. And then this is a sweet almond, which the bees love. So I'm not going to touch with. Watch out, Kyle. Oh, let me try to get back in there. So yeah, all in all, I trimmed this back like a lot. Let's go back here. There's Dean again trying to eat stuff. Let me go around this way. So yeah, now I just have this beautiful open area, which is super nice. I mean, the long and the short of it is, growth is not my problem. Like, growth is not my problem by any stretch of the imagination. This thing was planted in the summer, loaded with fruit. I cut off the fruit, but it keeps producing more flowers because this is a Calamandan, or the Calamansi. It just keeps producing nonstop. So I'm just letting it do its thing. I gave up. Well, you can only thin so many fruit before you ultimately give up on it. You're just like, you know what? Fine, you win. I'll let you fruit. Ugh. All my rough chop, I'm like slipping on. Ugh. So I gotta wait for it to get hot and break down, so it like breaks down more. But yeah, so I think that's kind of the big work in. I had to cut tonight. Well, maybe not tonight, maybe tomorrow. I'm going to cut the grass again. I'm going to keep that grass short as F. And then I just got one bastion in that back strip I got to maintain. And then I'll be good to go as far as keeping this grass under control, which will be super nice. But yeah, this guy right here, he's going bye-bye too. This is the Eve. I'm using the Eve and the Jujube. The Indian green Jujube. A deciduous Jujube would do better in this area. But I wanted something that would be more reminiscent of a green apple, and it is what it is. So now, the $1 million question is, well, what do I have here? So, in Arizona, 9B, citrus is super, super duper easy. Like, you have no issues with citrus. And it's easy for me to keep citrus in a nice shape, right? You can see there, I can keep citrus in a nice shape. They're very productive, super nice, super easy, right? Less trouble. the more citrus I have, the less other trees I have, the easier it is. The easier it is, the less likely I let the grass get out of control. So the trees that kind of cause me problems, that are just like, that aren't as productive as I'd like, I'm trimming them away. So the Florida King, good tree, but the Florida Prince is way more productive. So I'm just like, you know what? Let me just go down to one peach, because they both ripen at the same time. One was supposed to ripen after the other, but they ended up both ripening at the same time. So I was like, let me just chop that back, call it a day. Eve, big, beautiful tree, delicious fruit. But if our winter is like not consistent, and we have like a couple high spike days in there, sometimes it causes issues with its ability to hold on to fruit, I found out in the following season. So amazing tree, puts on a lot of fruit, and then it drops a bunch. No matter how much watering I do or anything like that, it just drops them. And I said, look, this thing takes up way too much of a footprint, which I would argue is good chop and drop, but for the production I'm getting, it's just not worth it. So I'm trying to keep it simple. Things I can keep in a nice pattern. So like my almond right here stays in this Urizane almond stays in a nice upward pattern, slightly spreading, easy to maintain, easy to control, very productive, super nice. Dude, the birds went to town. There's another one of my Indian greens. Yeah, the birds, the little bastards, they got me. So I was just looking at another jujube. There's literally like on that big old tree, there's only like 5 of them. And you can't even see my hands. I'm like showing my hands everywhere. Big old tree, there's only like 5 of them. And those freaking birds, they got them all. That is another reason actually why I'm considering getting rid of these figs. I think I need the space. And what I mean by that is, effectively, trees that aren't working right, so like this Shangri-La, like the Indian green jujube, they're out. The Turk's cap hibiscus, beautiful plant, but it grows like a psychopath, so it's just not working for me. I'm gonna cut it out. It has an edible flower, but it's just not worth it. I'm just gonna cut it out. The honeysuckle I have on the other side is more maintainable and grows in a better pattern, so I'm gonna keep the honeysuckle and just get rid of the Turk's cap hibiscus. I'm just gonna cut it at the bottom, chop it up, drop it, done. But then you have the trees that are super productive, but the birds just molest it. Like, you can't stop. The birds are just so powerful in their desire to eat it, right? With the mulberries, when you have a very powerful mulberry that produces a lot of fruit, birds can't keep up. But when you have figs, the birds devour that. So on one hand, I want the birds to have food. I want to provide for them. But on the other hand, I also want to maximize what I'm growing, and I need more space, because everything beyond, I can't really show you, but everything beyond this row here, everything beyond this like line over here is effectively potential patio space for Kim. Kim's gonna, I'd say the house from the line is probably, from the line, can't see it, but from the line to the wall of the house is probably, what is that, like 20 feet? Maybe a little bit more. 20 to 25 feet, right? I don't know how much space Kim's gonna want for her patio. I'm gonna leave that up to her. Obviously, I'm trying to take as much as I can so I can do another strip of mangoes or something. But for now, I have to operate on, she might just take up all the space, and I might not really have a good strip to grow anything outside of maybe planting some annuals. So I decided to kind of simplify and maximize. So I have a lot of citrus. Citrus are super easy to grow. I love them. They're tasty. And I also have a dream of creating my own set of hybrids using the Miwa kumquat as a base. Pretty much, I want to create, like, imagine a pomelo or a grapefruit where you bite into it instead of peeling it, because it's like a kumquat. You can just eat everything. It's sweet. That's my goal. That's going to be decades in the making, but that's my dream. So, like I said, I love citrus. Well, in Arizona, you can get citrus from November. You could get it a little bit earlier, but I'm just going to say November. Effectively November to July. Now, could you get a little bit in late October? Could you stretch some of it, like some of your grapefruits, and eat your grapefruits in August? Yes, you can. But I'm just going to use the stereotypical ranges. So effectively, Dean, going Gotta watch out for Dean. He always tries to eat my mulch. He's a savage. Look at him. Yeah, I see you, Dean. Little savage. But effectively, November to July, I'm gonna have citrus. And then it's really just gonna be August, September, and October where I'm gonna have a gap. Now hopefully I can fill it up with some of these guavas, these dwarf, like the lemon guava and the strawberry guava and stuff like that. We shall see. Worst case scenario, if I'm able to do a strip, I could always get some deciduous jujubes that I can cut back to stumps. Those produce in August, September, October. Mangoes would work well. Mangoes would do better closer to the patio than further away because I'd actually be able to protect them more effectively in the wintertime. So there you go. But yeah, so on that quest to make sure I have a strong harvest, here's what I got going on. So I got right here, let's see, where am I going to start with? So this beautiful baby girl right here is Fukumoto. Let me get the little where's my tag at? Look at that. Boom. Can you see that? Fukumoto navel. So it's like an offshoot mutation or something of the Washington navel. But this thing is technically, you could have some in October, but November on, this guy's supposed to be really sweet fruit. And I think what allows for that is because it has lower acid. So that's super sweet. So I have the Fukumoto. And then, where are you at? Right here. Hamlin. Hamlin is also ready in November. So the Fukumoto and the Hamlin are going to be my early ones. So they're going to hit, I'm going to be able to eat them November, December, and like January if I want. My Kishu and, let's see, my Kishu, my Washington navel, my Tango Mandarin, I could start hitting those in January. So I kind of have that January, February bridge. So that's kind of why I have the bridge there. Now, sorry, it's getting louder with the rain. I don't think you guys can hear that though. And then I have, hold on. Let's see. Shiranui. I got two of these puppies. This is the Sumo Citrus. So I got two of them right there. That is the Sumo Citrus you see in the store, but the variety is just called Shiranui. I got two of them. It is beautiful. I'm excited for it. Those guys are like your typical Mandarin. I'm assuming they have the same hang time. Essentially, anything that you have that's a Mandarin, they can hold for a really long time. So effectively, they typically tend to be ready in late February, early March, and then you can pretty much harvest them for a super long time. That's, at least in my opinion, Mandarins tend to hit their peak around February, and then they can hold in for a really long time. So a lot of cuties tend to be Mandarins too. So the long hold time is just super awesome. So then I kind of have my later season fruit that I can hold on. So we talked about so this is kind of mid-season, but can also hold on late with these two Shiranui. Talked about Hamlin, talked about Fukumoto, and then we have my two pomelos. I don't know if you can see that. That's the Tahitian. I'm zooming, it's backwards, but it's Tahitian. And then this one, Valentine. Apparently the Tahitian and the Sarawak are two different pomelos, and people use them interchangeably, but that's incorrect. Tahitian, Valentine. Valentine, as his name suggests, will probably be ready around February, but like I said, that'll probably be I'll probably end up hitting that in March, April, May. We'll see what the whole time is on that. I believe the Tahitian has a longer window, but don't quote me on that. I'm going to find out for myself, because for a lot of stuff you see online in citrus, it also depends on the environment you're growing it in. Because Arizona citrus is different than citrus grown in California and citrus grown in Florida, because they have like essentially different climates. All three are great for growing citrus, but there are differences. And then I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, another late guy. Boom, Star Ruby grapefruit. Essentially a ruby red grapefruit. You know, that's what that girl is. So that is also going to be another one late. So I got super earlies, I got mid, and then I also have late. So that'll kind of cover me for my entire swath. Combined with all the other citrus I already have, both in the ground and in a open bottom raised bed, I have a crap ton of citrus. So I should be set I mean, it's 2025, so it'll probably be by 2028, I will have an insane harvest of citrus. And then by 2030, I will have more citrus than I could ever use. Like every month is kind of my goal. We'll see. We'll see how it shucks out. What's kind of cool is when you have them have longer hang times, you can kind of thin them out. And instead of letting it, because there's a lot of citrus naturally thin, but you can thin them out yourself to get even bigger, juicier fruit because you don't need as much because you have a lot of trees that are ripening successively. And that's kind of my goal. Like I said, I love citrus. I could eat citrus forever. Hence why I'm trying to almost have a year-round citrus. Calamondin produce essentially year-round. So the color change happens when, it's colder, but you can eat some of those calamondin on there actually eatable. Some people don't like it because it's sour, but it's a sour kumquat. I like sour kumquats. I find that for some reason, I don't know what it is, but limes, if you eat limes, supercharge me. And I found that pretty much what happened was I went to a nursery and they had limequats, and then I had a limequat, and I was just wired that entire day. I was like, why am I so full of energy? And then I had another experience with a limequat, and I found that that's also why I got the Palestine sweet lime, because I want to see if that gives me the same effect. But I found that the calamondin has the same effect. I don't know if it's the chemicals in the skin or the compounds in the skin or what, but when I eat lime-based kumquats, it just gives me all-day energy and I feel really good. I don't know what it is, but it works every time, and that's why I love them so much. And I love the fact that the calamondin is, year-round. I actually have a seedling of that now, so we're going to see what happens with that. I'm actually really excited. I don't know if that seedling crossed with anything around it, but we'll see. So yeah, that's really the big update. I know I kind of ran through. It's starting. You guys can't see it, but it is starting to rain. I'm kind of hiding under the cover, but it is raining, and my pups are like, "Hey, what are you doing, keeping me out like this?" So yeah, long story short, I made good progress on the yard. I'm cutting out things that aren't as productive as I need them to be. I'm kind of solidifying. And I'm saying, hey, to the extent I'm replacing something that's difficult, I'm going to replace it with something that's super easy to do. And because it will take me less effort, less stress, I don't have to worry about bagging it. I don't have to worry about protecting it. All I got to do is make sure I have plenty of water out for the birds, which I obviously do. Multiple water sources. Once we get the patio done, I'm going to add even more fountains. So multiple water sources. I'll probably add some seed-based feeders for Sonora native birds. Really just encouraging environment for the birds, making sure I'm giving them plenty of food and water, and my citrus should be fine. Because if birds are starved for water, they will peck some citrus. But I find that if you have water dishes out, you don't have that problem. So it works out pretty nice. But yeah, this is a super long video, which I love, but it's raining and my dogs are mad at me. So yeah, long story short, my goal is to have citrus from November to July. And now all I got to do, as far as what I'm going to have between that range, I'm not really sure, to be honest. A lot of stuff doesn't do well in that range in Arizona for one of two reasons, either the sun or the birds. So I'm trying to just, let me just focus in on what's more foolproof and kind of figure it out from there. I did see online that they have these cages you can put over stuff, so I might explore with that. But I don't want to put bird netting on because I don't want to risk having a bird get caught in it and die. It's just not, I don't want to do that. So yeah, it's Boy Botanist JWA. And yeah, I'm back, dude. I'm hoping to get back into the weekly citrus stuff. Not citrus stuff, sorry. To the weekly videos. I finally feel like I got some control in the yard. I got a nice path. As far as where I'm going to place these guys, I mean, Lord knows where. Obviously, in some places where I'm ripping out trees and stuff, I'm going to put them there. My wife doesn't want me to get rid of the figs. Not because, figs are delicious, but we don't get any. But she feels bad for the birds, so I'm trying to see if I can avoid getting rid of them. But at the end of the day, the figs do grow all crazy. They do take effort. So to the extent I can reduce my efforts and be able to focus on where I really need to focus on, which is maintaining, cutting the grass and stuff, then in the future, I hope to have this grass killed off. I really don't want this grass. It's like, if I didn't have this grass, none of this overgrowth would have happened. You kind of get to a point where you either fight the grass or you fight the big trees. And I can do one, but not both. All right, well, I'm gonna let you guys go. I've rabbled forever, but yeah, Shiranui, Sumo Citrus, Valentine Pomelo, Tahitian, Fukumoto, Hamlin, Ruby, and obviously that's the other Shiranui. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm stoked. I'm looking forward to planting these suckers. See you guys next time.